to Any Given Sunday. Some great images from the Commonwealth Games that are now almost 7 months ago, which is just scary. But one of our absolute superstars was the young lady that's joining us now, Katie Mactier, who took out the 3,000 metres individual pursuit. Welcome back to Melbourne, first of all, because you've been back for about 3 weeks now, haven't you?
Correct. And
welcome to the program. Are you a little bit twitchy because the World Championships on the road is on at the moment? Are you watching them eagerly?
Yeah, of course. I've got a lot of friends competing over in Austria. As far as my own personal agenda, it's a period of time where I'm focusing on the track worlds, which are in March next year. So unfortunately, the timing isn't perfect for me to be over there racing. But certainly, you know, I'm keenly watching their progress.
The cyclists with good reputations and good results like yourself, is there going to be some pressure from Warren McDonald, the head coach, to try and pull you across to the road, the time trial in particular, because we haven't had great success in the last 2 days in the time trial? Is there going to be any pressure for you to double up?
I don't think so. The coaches realise that preparing for the time trial versus a 3 kilometre event, which is obviously the one that I'm aiming for in Beijing, they're completely different as far as preparation goes. I know Warren's a bit concerned about the lack of depth. I've got no question that the Aussie women will rise to the challenge over the next 2 years.
In terms of one of the things that he's been talking about trying to pinch, for want of a better word, pinch some athletes from other sports like triathlon and rowing. You would be a supporter of that, wouldn't you? Because you came from a triathlon background, didn't you?
It's interesting, I did, and women in road cycling, it's not uncommon for them to come across from a rowing background, a triathlon background. It's probably not a sport that's adopted amongst schools, so yeah, for sure. It's rowers seem to make great transfer very well across into cycling.
Because you are fighting against other sports that have school programs that, you know, kids are being fed through to the elite ranks through school.
That's right.
Does cycling need to look at something like that?
Well, that's definitely a good suggestion, and I know that the AIS do go and do a lot of talent ID, particularly around the ACT, but I think road cycling tends to be a sport where maybe women in their early 20s come across, like we said, from a sporting background. You know, it requires a great deal of dedication and a long periods of time overseas, so maybe the more matured athlete kind of copes with those issues a little bit better.
Is there any difference, mentality-wise, between a track and a road cyclist?
Yes.
What is it?
Well, it's interesting. Probably there's a more contrast between sprinters on the track versus track endurance athletes. And I think that if you look at athletics, for instance, it's fairly obvious the difference between the sprinters versus maybe the endurance athletes. I mean, sprinters are known to be
flamboyant.
Correct.
And the endurance ones are loners. Yeah, sad.
And I've always personally felt that the road races should be made to at least deliver papers on the way, don't you think? As they go.
Multitasking.
Was the Commonwealth Games great for you? Was that just a fantastic experience?
Yep, you bet. Everything. And Melbourne put on a great show. Australians were fantastic. The highlight, no question, of my career so far.
And our bike riders were so dominant. The girls did amazingly well, didn't they?
Yeah, and I think that, you know, I don't think we need to have alarm bells raising at this stage of the game.
Speed hump.
Yes.
They do have the best stacks in sport.
No
It has to
question.
be the cyclists in the road races. So that they are. When the peloton goes down, you just live in fear. Have you ever had a nasty accident yourself on the...
2 collarbones are back, skin off pretty much everywhere.
It's all part of the learning process, though, really.
Definitely,
isn't it?
and especially it's interesting, you come across, you're very fit, and you come across into the world of cycling, your fitness is there, but your technical skills aren't. So crashes are part of it, unfortunately. I've been lucky in the last couple of years, not so much, but yeah, like you said, in a peloton, if someone goes down, there's every chance like it's a domino effect.
How far before every major event do you stop taking banned drugs?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm mucking around. Do you feel like we've just had the...
She doesn't
I'm having a
stop.
laugh.
No,
the Tour de France and all that, it doesn't help the sport, does it? This
not great.
kind of
No.
question mark over the top.
Let's look at the positives. UCI is great as far as... Gavin, Nicole.
They are very good, UCI.
They're diligent and they know they're catching them, and we're slowly getting rid of them. I think another point to look at is the fact that cyclists compete as far as any sport goes. They can compete. An athlete can compete up to 100 days in a year, 80 to 100 days. We get tested all the time. I'm not going to compare it to another sport, but we're competing the whole time. So the odds of us and athletes going positive versus another sport that
I know you love your sport, but if you're a parent looking at a sport to put your kid into, Why would a parent pick cycling? I know you love it, but you know, with the issues that are going on, there is legitimately a clean-up campaign going on.
Oh, this is the mum coming out in
Why
here
would
now.
someone pick cycling?
Well, I mean, I guess it's. I don't know if it's so much a parent that is that influential as far as what their child. I mean, I guess they are, and cycling. I think you've given me a tough question,
sorry.
And I'm trying to. Why? Because for me personally, I've been able to experience and travel the world. The Australian cycling program is by far the best in the world. There is no question. It has taught me things that I don't think. I picked up the bike at 25. I came from a corporate world, and
Can I ask you what your first bike was? First bike you ever had? Not even to race on?
Yeah.
Your first bike?
Oh, Melbourne Star.
A Melbourne
no
Star.
question.
Well, isn't there a race for the dragsters? Don't you think there's room at some level for something on the dragsters?
There probably is. There probably
Get
is.
a celebrity race on the Bay Series going. Mick can do it with the dragsters.
What
Very
about
good idea.
dinking? Why isn't dinking an Olympic event where you all have to dink someone like, say, me?
Well, we do have tandem racing on the track.
Do you?
Yeah, indeed we do.
On a goodies style bike?
How do you view the tandem though? Do you guys look at it and go, it's a Mickey Mouse thing, or do you
No,
just...
it's a talent and it's a fabulous spectacle. I mean, talking about crashes, those guys have some incredible crashes, but it's,
Do you think the girls should race with a basket on the front of their
No,
bike?
I do not.
Can I ask you one more serious question? What have you got coming up? Because unlike the roadies, you get to spend a bit of time in Australia. What have you got coming up? There's the Bay Series, obviously.
Yeah, it's domestic racing in Australia. For me, everything is targeted towards the Track World Championships next March in Mallorca, Spain. The selection race is coming up in the first World Cup in Sydney, 8 weeks away. So back on the straight and narrow as far as training, 600-700k weeks. On top of that, weights, ergos.
600-700 Ks? I don't do that in my car.
Hey, thanks for coming in, Cooter. Cooter, why do they call you Cooter?
I don't know why they call me Cooter. I don't know.
There's a story there. I'll get to the bottom of it during the break. Hey, thanks for coming in. We do appreciate it. And good luck for the... When did you say? March, is it?
Yeah.
Well, go hard, and hopefully we'll speak to you next year and you'll bring home some gold. Thanks for coming in, Katie.
Thanks for having me.
We do appreciate it. Katie Mactier. We'll be back with more Any Given Sunday after this.